Welcome to the eCommerce Badassery podcast, the place for scrappy female entrepreneurs who want to learn actionable steps and strategies to grow the traffic, sales, and profit in your e-commerce business. I'm your host, Jessica Totillo-Coster, a 20-year retail veteran who spent 3 years as the only employee of a 7-figure online store. That shit was crazy. I know exactly how it feels to do all the things, and I'm sharing everything I learned the hard way so you don't have to. I may have started this business by accident, but supporting badass bosses like you lights me the fuck up, and I am so stoked to see you grow. Are you ready, babe? Let's roll. Hello, e-commerce friend, and welcome back to the eCommerce Badassery podcast. Today is going to be a quick but very important episode for my US-based e-commerce friends. I've been noticing that there is still a lot of confusion when it comes to charging sales tax for e-commerce businesses, and rightfully so. Up until a couple of years ago, you were only required to charge sales tax in states where you had a physical business presence, or nexus as it's called. This meant that if you yourself were located there, if you had an office there or a fulfillment center, that you would be required to collect and remit sales tax. But if you had no physical presence, you didn't have to charge sales tax at all. And as a consumer, it was pretty awesome. My husband is a photographer, so when you purchase a product that's a few $1,000s from a retailer in New York that you're having shipped to California so you don't have to pay sales tax, it's a huge financial savings. Certain retailers, like Amazon, for example, who had fulfillment centers all over the country, were already required to collect sales tax for most, if not all, states. So you wouldn't have noticed the benefits as a consumer. But in 2018, the South Dakota versus Wayfair case changed everything. The U.S. Supreme Court ruled in favor of South Dakota, which overturned an older ruling. So now the power was back in the hands of the states, and they're able to decide if and when they will mandate sales tax be collected and paid to them. And when you think about it, it makes perfect sense. I'm honestly shocked that it took so long for something like that to happen. I'm sure states were losing out on a lot of revenue as consumer behavior continues to move online. So it really was just a matter of time. So what was the next step? Well, states had to create their own mandates and requirements, and they did. Many of them very quickly and others not so much. But the real kicker is that every state has different requirements. Some are based on the total revenue, and others are based on the number of orders you ship there. Depending on your business, it's possible that there are only a handful of states where you would be required to start collecting sales tax. But in certain states like Kansas, there is no threshold, which means you're required to collect sales tax for orders shipped to Kansas from day one. And it's possible that you yourself live in a state that has no sales tax, so maybe you never even thought about it. But if you're shipping to states where you meet the threshold, you still need to collect taxes on that order. What's even more confusing is that some states only charge tax on the subtotal of the order, where other states like Kentucky charge tax on the shipping fees too. And New York charges different sales tax rates based on the price of individual items. It's so confusing. So how the fuck are you supposed to keep track of all of this? Good news, my friend, there's an app for that. Essentially, what the apps do is monitor your sales to each state and alert you when it's time to start collecting the taxes. They can even help you register for a reseller's permit in those states once you meet the threshold, and they can even remit the taxes for you as well, so you don't have to worry about it. There are 2 main services out there that offer this for you, TaxJar and Avalara. I'll have links for both of them in the show notes. In full transparency, I am an affiliate of TaxJar, and if you choose to use them, would be so grateful if you'd use my link. Small commissions like that help me continue to bring you kick-ass free content to help run your e-commerce business, and there's no additional cost to you. They both work with multiple e-commerce platforms, but one note is that Avalara, pretty sure, only works with Shopify Plus, so if you're on any of the lower Shopify plans, you'll want to go with TaxJar. Their pricing structures differ a bit, with TaxJar being a more standard structure based on the features you want, and they have a 30-day free trial. And Avalara is based on your sales volume, so you have to contact them for rates. Now, you might be asking yourself, do I really have to collect sales tax? How are they going to know? Good question. And I certainly don't have the answer, but there are some hefty fines out there for not complying, so I wouldn't recommend ignoring it. And please note, I am not an accountant or a tax professional, so you'll definitely want to do your due diligence and find someone you can work with if you need more help with this. As I mentioned, TaxJar and Avalara both have services to help you navigate this. So if you don't already have an accountant you work with, it's probably worth it for you to employ their services. Okay, friend, that is our show for today. I promised it would be short and sweet. Stay tuned for the rest of December because I'm going to be here every week, same time, same place, with more short and sweet but very important episodes. Have a kick-ass day, and I'll see you on the flip side. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. If you like what you heard, I'd be so grateful if you'd leave a review on Apple Podcasts, and don't forget to subscribe so you never miss an episode. And if you're looking to surround yourself with more product entrepreneurs who totally get your life right now, get your booty on over to the eCommerce Badassery Facebook group. Can't wait to see you there. Until next time, e-commerce friends, stay badass.